Hi, I'm Chris James, and you're watching Healthy Alternative. Today, I want to talk about the benefits of Michael, and today we're going to be talking about...
Today we'll be making one of my favorite soups.
Welcome to the
Tomato
JR72 Challenge.
I am Animated Mel, and I am your mental and wellness coach for
As always, perfection is not needed, but consistency
We must
is
first lovingly accept what is. You can't heal a body with hands.
I'm going to skip over the other part today because we are already running late. Thank you, everybody, for waiting patiently. Of course, technology. I could not get my camera to start. So it's annoying, but you know what I'm saying? It's a part of it. You get the good and the bad. It comes with the good and the bad.
Technology for you. We love it, but you know.
Technology. Sasha, you look like you rested well last night or something. You look refreshed.
I love that you said that. Thank you. Pay you later. Do you know what? The truth is my body is trying to fight a little cold, and I'm very annoyed about it because one thing about me, I'm always working on the immune system. However, I'm going to be totally transparent because this is what it's about. I kind of let my routine slip this last 2 weeks. I have been so busy with the center, and then I've been prepping for the course. I've been doing some of these lives, which is not too intensive, but it's later than my usual time that I'm at the center, right? Mm-hmm. Which means I'm getting home and then I'm doing my household bits and pieces and getting to bed a lot later than usual. It's my own fault, but my immune system said to me this morning, nice try, gotcha. And so, yeah, I am throwing all of my remedies at it. And I should have it under control. Give me 24 hours. But yeah, that's. But I appreciate you saying I look all right because yeah.
Well, that's the beauty. That's the beauty of transparency because it's real, right? Like this is what happens in real life to real people, and people sometimes project on us that we are flawless, we're perfect, we're super. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Not at all.
I think it's good for people to see the real, and also like. When I'm under the weather, which also happens, I don't get sick.
That's what I'm gonna say.
You know, I don't get sick. It's a stuffy nose. It's a little mucus. It happens either if I'm detoxing or if I'm eating something that I shouldn't be. Like today, I decided to get some dried peaches.
Okay.
And I know people are like, dried peaches? What's wrong with dried peaches? Well, I'm gonna tell y'all. I don't snack. I just stopped snacking because snacking is just problematic. It's so many pitfalls. So I went and got some dried peaches. I've never had them before. When I was a child, I loved them. And I was like, okay, cool. Doesn't from just the bag, just quickly, doesn't look like there's any added sugar, nothing crazy in it. I ate the first peach. First thing I noticed was it smelled weird. Like, you know, like I don't know how to explain it, but I'll just say it smelled chemically, like like preservatives or you know something in it. Because I've eaten a lot of dried fruit, and you know sometimes they got little weird smells, but this was different. But I ate it, and I was just like it's not what I expected. But I would have eaten them. But as soon as I ate the first one, something weird with my nose happened. My body responded instantly.
Yeah.
You know where those peaches are?
Garbage.
They're in the trash.
Yeah.
So that's how we got to do it. And they were expensive. They were like $4 for this little bag of dried peaches that were toxic.
And the thing is, that's how they mask it, though. They mask it like, it's a bit expensive. It's natural. Like, you know, and the truth is, it couldn't be further from the truth. And I mean, it's caught me before. I've bought dried fruit and thought, yeah, I'm looking at it, it's fine. And then I've tasted it and been like, that doesn't taste the same as when I dehydrate fruit in my Excalibur. Like, I know the taste of homemade dried fruit. There is no other taste apart from it tastes like homemade candy, like literally.
Right.
But then there is no kind of chemical aftertaste. There is nothing like that. And there's no added sugar taste either. So, yeah, I get what you're saying, for sure.
So that's how you know that, you know, something weird is going on. And I developed this ability. This is not something I always had. Now, it is a natural ability, but we lose our ability to detect toxic chemicals and additives in our food when we've been eating processed foods all our life. Like, we lose that ability. So regaining the ability to determine what is good for us or not is important, because people always ask, Chris, what should I be eating? What, you know, what's good, what's bad? And it's easy for me to just come up with a list, but
Yeah,
anything on the list I give you could potentially be bad depending on how you source it, right? So I think that developing the skill to be able to determine what's good and bad by ingesting it and paying attention to how your body responds, that's the ultimate. Like, that's really what you all want to shoot for. And this also ties into the topic and, Sasha, your course and everything, because when we're looking at gut health, we're looking at, you know, what are the healthy things we can put in our mouth to help, you know, natural probiotics. Like, what do we need to eat? What are natural prebiotics? What can we eat naturally that's going to nourish the gut flora that we have, that's going to give us a diversity in the gut that we really want? Like, and this should be intuitive for us. So we got to get back to this, because
absolutely, we do. And the thing is, right, before we can even get back to it, we have to be able to identify that we have a problem. There are so many people walking around that feel like, well, I don't have constipation, I don't have diarrhea, so my gut's fine. I don't know when we became kind of caught up with this idea that if you don't have toilet issues, then you have a healthy gut. Your gut is not just about your colon. Your gut is a word, right? It's a short word for gastrointestinal system. It's a system, which means it's including multiple organs, which we're going to cover in the course. The first lesson on tomorrow, we're going to be looking at the digestive system as a whole, because I want to explain to you that, because, you know, for a long time myself, I thought when they said gut, we were talking about the stomach, or we were talking about, you know, the intestines. But then it became clear, the more I learned over the years, it was like, you know what? No, there are so many organs that work and coexist together to create what makes up the gastrointestinal system. And so, that being said, we really need to be able to identify the signs that areas of our gastrointestinal system is not functioning optimally. And that's why I feel like this course is so important, because oftentimes people are thinking about it from a colon perspective. They're always thinking about, well, I don't have diarrhea, I don't suffer with gas or bloating, and I don't have constipation, so therefore my gut's good. No, it's not. And the reason why I know it's not, okay, and why I can say this from a professional standpoint, but also forget that from an experiential standpoint, is because your microbiome is unique to you, right? But the reality is your microbiome is also passed through genetically. So whatever your mum did and your dad did when they were in the conceiving you, and then whatever your mum did when she was carrying you, also impacted the quality of your microbiome before you were born, and then you were able to take over what you did after that. And oftentimes what we see is that the parents didn't know better. They were a meat and starch family, okay, with a very, very little fiber to the most part. Because we're talking about the generation that is, you know, 1950s and onwards. Before the 1950s, there was a lot more homegrown. We saw there was a lot less processed food. But from when the 1950s, 1960s boom hit, this is when, you know, KFC, McDonald's, all of these things kind of inundated the society, right? Especially in our communities, and people that look like us. On every corner there was a chicken shop, and probably still is, right? And so it became more of both parents are going to work, no one's staying at home to cook, because we both got to make money. It became that era of quote unquote feminism, you know, and I don't want to go into the political side of things, but all of that has an impact on how you were being nurtured, therefore how you were nurturing your microbiome. So when I talk about the gut, it's not just from a standpoint of, yeah, these digestive issues that everybody knows about. We're talking about how your gallbladder functions. Although it can be a separate topic on itself, it makes up the gastrointestinal system. We're talking about your mouth. Your mouth is the original area, right, where things are being broken down, especially the carbohydrates, in order to send that messaging. And if you saw the last video, I don't know what video it was, we did a few, but one of those videos I explained about chewing your food, just like a masticating juicer, breaking things down in order to send the messaging so that the stomach knows, hey, 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 it's time to get the hydrochloric acid going, right? And then there's also the esophagus. I mean, there is a rise in esophageal cancer, a huge rise. And nobody really talks about it. It's one of those cancers that we kind of skip over. And I don't know why, because the rise is huge. And it's very, very difficult to treat because of where it is and how we use it. Food doesn't stay there for long. It's just kind of like a traveling mechanism. But unfortunately, what's happening is because there is a miscommunication, right, of how to digest food, that sphincter kind of opens up and then food comes back up. And that's what we call reflux. And there are so many people living with this reflux, and they're just like, I'm pumping an acid. What's the big deal? Like, it'll be gone in a minute. But no, you're actually interfering with the mechanism of that procedure. It's like, it's a process. The mouth chews, it goes through the esophagus down to the stomach. If you are diluting your meal by drinking, so if I'm eating right now and then I'm drinking at the same time, I'm actually diluting those enzymes, right, that are required to do the job. When we do that, we also increase the risk of reflux. We increase the risk of those things. And so it's not just that. There are other factors at play, especially medications. Medications, a lot of them have a side effect of reflux. But people are almost residing to the fact that, you know what, if it's not the typical digestive concerns, then I don't need to know about the gut. I'm fine. And you're really not, because again, when it comes to true health, you have to remember that 75% of your immune system is built in your gut.
Right.
So if we are not being kind of proactive about the health of our gut, then we're almost taking a huge chance at life. I look at blood for a living, as you know, and when I look at the blood cells, yes, I'm looking at the red blood cells, I'm looking at their integrity, but most of the time my focus is the immune. I want to see what your immune system's doing because it tells a story. It lets me know if you have fighters. Because if you don't have fighters, you are a lamb to the slaughter. Because we live in such a toxic environment with so much synthetic food, so much environmental toxins, so much stress. You know, most people are on convenience food. So all of these things are just depleting your nutritional soil. And then if you don't have immune soldiers standing by, then it can be very complicated. And don't get me wrong, I don't want to lay this story as like you can't get yourself out of things, because I absolutely know the body is designed to heal. And that's not a belief, that's a knowing, right? But why would we get ourselves into that place when we can be proactive and learn how to nurture our microbiome to work for us rather than against us? And that's what the course is designed to do. It's designed to get you really looking at your body differently. Because oftentimes people are looking at aesthetically. I mean, I speak to people all the time, and they're like, oh my gosh, your hair's nice, or your skin's nice. And I'm like, thanks a lot. Thanks. I bought it, but thanks. You know what I mean? But, you know, I'm like, thanks. And then they're always like, what do you do? What are you using? And I say to them, the truth is it starts with my gut. That's the truth. Because it's really easy to say, oh, I use sulfate-free, paraben-free shampoo. I use shea butter on my skin. These are all great things. But it wouldn't matter if I had a toxic gut, because it would still come out on the skin as the biggest elimination organ. And my follicles would still be really, really bad. And therefore my hair would not grow, and it would have a dullness to it. It wouldn't have the shine, right? Because it wouldn't be getting nutrients. So again, it all just ties back again to, so I want to jump into identifying the science, because that's what the call is about today. So I want to talk about some of the things that people maybe don't associate with the gut. So one of those things, I have a lot of clients that come in here, and pain is the greatest motivator. So people come in when they're in pain.
Yeah.
You know, it's a great way to come in to book an appointment. You're like, I'm in pain. I actually want to come and pay money. So they come in, and I'm always looking at the blood first to give me a blueprint of where we are. I want to look at the immune system. I want to see where we are. And then when we kind of go through the story that the blood is giving, it's very often a sign of gut inflammation, right? The pain is beginning because of the gut inflammation. And they're like, gut inflammation, like what? And I'm like, yeah, but that's not the true beginning. That's what is presenting in the blood, right? That's what we can see. I said, but joint pain and that sort of pain you're feeling, that inflammation started somewhere else, because the body doesn't just start with inflammation. It starts with toxicity. Toxicity is always the beginning of it all. And then when the toxicity reaches its top of the bucket, it begins to overspill. So imagine a bucket, and that toxins are just rising. It reaches the top of the bucket, and lo and behold, you're spilling over. And now you have a response to the toxicity, which is an inflammatory response. So when you're experiencing joint pain and it's a regular thing and you're having pains and aches, know that your inflammatory response has kicked in, and we need to really look at, are you emptying toxins? What are the toxins you're bringing in? And are they actually being eliminated through the system? There are 5 main elimination organs, okay? And are those pathways open? Is your colon emptying? Is your liver emptying? Okay? Is your lymphatic system moving to get those dead tissues? And my gosh, I just lost my train of thought. But are they moving, right? Are you getting out all of those dead skin cells and tissues? That's really important. So those are the 3 of the elimination organs. And then of course you have the kidney. Let me not forget, really important. Are you urinating and getting your waste out in that way? Because a lot of people aren't. A lot of people are suppressing their pee when they're out and about. They don't want to use a public toilet, so they'll hold their urine. They're like holding it throughout the day, and it's like, no. You have to let it out. You've got to let it go, because it's not healthy. And we see in kidney disease rise. Anyway, we have a whole course on kidneys, so we'll go into that there. But it's a real thing, especially for people that of the brown complexion, right? Kidney disease is rampant. And then the 5th one, of course, is the skin. Skin is another elimination, and it's actually one of the biggest ones. We see a lot of people walking around with psoriasis, eczema, or eczema, if you want to call it that. Also, we've got like what's the other one that's a lot of people are having right now? My brain. Woohoo! Eczema, rosacea, and there's another one, I can't remember the name right now, but just think about, acne. There we go. And these skin complaints, right, are all to do with toxicity. It's not something different. And this is the thing. When you go to your physician, your local physician, and you report symptoms of these things, they're not looking at it from a cellular perspective. They're looking at it from the symptom that is presenting in this time frame, right? So if I go in and I have eczema around my mouth, okay, they're not looking at where's the root cause of the eczema that's presenting in this area. They're just looking at, oh, she's got eczema, let me give you a steroid cream, or let me treat you with I don't know what else they treat with, maybe a topical cream, right? But the point is, that just is a band-aid solution for a short period of time, and that eczema is going to return because the toxicity is now greater than it was before you went there. Because now
Sasha, real quick,
Mm-hmm.
when you talk about eczema or psoriasis or even acne, certain areas on the face, are you familiar with how you have certain acne, certain issues on certain places of your face, and that
relates to different organs?
Yeah.
I can't actually connect the organs. I don't know that. That is actually a skill set, another kind of modality. But I did experience as a patient or as a customer reflexology when I was sick.
Okay.
And it's very similar in the sense that they look at your foot, okay, and various different areas on your foot is representative of various different organ systems and places in the body. And at the time, I'll tell the story because it was really, really powerful. At the time, I was in hospital. I was on morphine. for the pain, and it wasn't working. I was on such ridiculous dosage of morphine, and yet it couldn't stop the intense pain I was feeling. Okay.
Wow.
And I don't even know how to put it into words, but you know, when you're praying that the pain just stops, I didn't know how to get it to stop. And I just thought, I just want to sleep. Please just, Lord, put me to sleep, because I just want it to stop. And at that moment, I was in the hospital room, and a lady came in, and I've got this thing, you guys will know this now. I've got this thing about feet. I really don't like feet. I really don't like feet. Okay. Think of Eddie Murphy and Boomerang. I don't like feet. Okay. So anyway, so this lady comes into my hospital room, and she's like, can I help you? So I'm like, well, how? Like, and by the way, I was a very horrible patient in the hospital. I was very irritable because I just didn't feel good. So you wouldn't have met this Sasha at that moment. It was a different Sasha, a very aggravated, irritated Sasha. So I was kind of like, I don't know how you're gonna help me. Like, no one can help me. I'm on all these drugs. There's nothing, you know? And she said, I'd just like to massage your feet. And that was like the worst thing she could say. Like, I was like, what? I was like, you want to do what? Like, I said, can you get out? Like, can you please just get out? And she was like, please, I'll just touch your feet, okay? And if it doesn't give you any comfort, then I'll leave. And I said to her, listen, I don't want no one touching my feet. I haven't had a pedicure. I don't want no one looking at my feet. Can you just please, like, just go? And she was very insistent, and I didn't have the fight. You know, when you're exhausted, I had chronic fatigue. I'm in so much pain. I just didn't have the fight to even argue with the lady. So I was just like, okay, just whatever. And she did reflexology. She started playing this really calming music, which I was like, oh God, here we go. She's one of those. You know, like in my mind, I'm like, oh, she's one of those. Here we go. And and this is before I knew about alternative health, guys. I wasn't into it at all. I was one of those skeptics, one of those real skeptics. And so she starts touching my feet, and she puts like some oil on her hands, and I'm just grossed out. Just the touch of my feet, I'm like, oh, what is happening? But then I just felt calm, just a sense of calm, right? And I thought, oh, this is weird. And I don't know, I can only say that the experience felt like I levitated from my body. Like I left because it's like the pain was so intense, but then all of a sudden there was no pain. Like, I mean, zero. Imagine being in so much pain, and we're going on 6 months of just pain. And then in a moment, there's just no pain, right? Absolutely none at all. And I don't know, it felt like an out of body experience. It's the only thing I can explain, because I just didn't feel anything. And then when I woke up, she wasn't there. And I was like, yo, was that an angel? Like, whoa. So I'm like pressing the bell for my nurses. So a nurse comes in, and I'm like, I think I just had an angel in here. Like, you know, like, and the nurse is like, oh no, you're referring to blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, oh, okay. So, like, who is she? And can you and they're like, well, she's a volunteer. She just comes to the palliative ward where people are terminal, and she volunteers her services as a reflexologist, and she just comes to help take away the pain. And I thought, oh my God. And the thing is, I had been praying, let me just sleep, Lord, the pain just go away, and let me just sleep. And I was dependent on the doctors. I'm thinking, you lot just give me a stronger dose. You know what I mean? That's what I was thinking. I know he brought me somebody who wasn't a real angel, but was an angel in her conduct and how she behaved, you know? And I'm so grateful for it. And so I tell this story because, like you mentioned, where things present on the face and in the body, various times it is very relative to, it can be the liver trying to get your attention. It can be, you know, and it's funny, I went somewhere yesterday, and I can't show you because it's on my phone, but I went to, there is a naturopath that is very close to me, and I went there to get some supplements yesterday. And he was talking me through this new, well, it's not new, but it's a modality that he's just picked up. And he was walking me through, like, Sasha, what time do you wake up at night? And I was like, well, I don't really wake up at night, to be honest. Once I'm out, I'm out. And it's only when I've got lots of things on my mind or I'm stressing about something that I'll wake up, and that's when I know that, oh no, we got to get this together, because now it's interfering in your sleep and I need my sleep, because otherwise my immune system gets compromised. So there's that. And so he was showing me through this modality that he's doing, where it's a Chinese modality, traditional Chinese medicine, and whereby when you wake up at a certain time, it actually relates to various organ systems in the body.
Oh.
And it was so interesting because I had a client with me when I went to the naturopath, and I was taking him to go and get these supplements because we didn't want to order them. He needed them now. So as we went there, he had been presenting that he's waking up at between 1 and 2 every night, okay, and unable to go back to sleep for at least an hour. And when I'd done his blood, excuse me, we had seen that high blood pressure was a thing and that the liver was extremely compromised. So when we went and we were talking to this naturopath, he pulled it up on his chart and it was the liver. And I was like, look at this. Exactly what I had said, he had also confirmed. Are you frozen? Are you frozen?
I don't know who's frozen.
Oh, okay.
I'm not
Well,
frozen.
I was frozen.
Maybe I'm frozen.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm here. I'm back.
I mean, you never froze, but it's like it's been laggy. I don't know if it's me or you. It's I don't know.
Yeah, I know. It's just
I
kind of
don't know.
frozen for a second on the screen.
Okay.
Okay. Well, that was the thing. It was like everything I saw, the naturopath confirmed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It just goes to show that the body's always telling a story.
Mm-hmm.
Even in waking you up at night, the body's telling you a story, trying
Mm-hmm.
to get your attention.
So when we see repetitive actions from the body, we can't ignore it. It's easy to just think, oh, it's just whatever, but it's like, no, everything the body does is intentional. So you get a pimple on your forehead, like mine. When I get pimples, it's always like on my forehead in this little area right here, right? And at one point it was underneath my neck. At one point,
Oh.
it doesn't do that anymore. And then at one point it was in my beard, you know. And so when we're looking at, and then also you can also look at the eyes, right? Iridology, where you can look at the eyes and see where you have disease in the body. So what we consider cosmetic is really just it's like a diagnosis. It's like a check engine light. It's like the body saying, hey, everything's all good because your eyes are clear and your hair is shiny and you know, it's not frayed. And we look at it as cosmetic, but it's really just saying system check is good. And then when we see pimple here, there was, you know, back in the day, I date girls and they would tell me that they were getting pimples or whatever because their cycle was starting.
Yeah.
And that was a normal thing. Girls would tell me like, you know, I get pimples on my cycle, or I get, you know, mood swings and stuff like that. And then I learned later on down the road that was a health thing. We say it's your cycle, it's your monthly cycle doing it, but it's not. But your monthly cycle is a detox process. So depending on what you're detoxing, how much you need to detox, your level of toxicity, you're going to see certain outcomes. Then later, when I started learning that through dietary change and, you know, drinking water, like as you mentioned, I think on one of our first lives, like you'd be surprised at how many people just don't drink water.
It's wild. It's
insane to me because I've always drank water. But I'm teaching like when I'm talking to someone new, I'm like, look, drink water, eat fruit, you know, try eating more whole foods, vegetables. And they always see improved benefits on their cycle. Or like, you know, for men, as a man, we know that we got to be careful around women on their cycle. That's like men learn that pretty early on, you know. And so for me, I feel super blessed now because anybody that I deal with knows, like, they know what I'm doing. They're typically going to be in alignment, and they start doing those things. I don't have to worry about it. Like,
because it isn't normal. It isn't normal to be irritable, and this is the thing, right? and I don't want to go into it right now, but literally your cycle is your report card. It's your monthly report card of what you've done throughout that month. It lets you know what's happening. And a lot of people are having really crazy cycles because of what they consume, right? Or what they're putting on their body, not
Right.
only what they're putting in, right?
Mhm.
And that's the thing. When it comes to your cycle, it shouldn't be more than 3 days. Let's be real. And it shouldn't be heavy. If your cycle is lasting for more than 3 days and it is a heavy cycle, then you really got to be looking at, what am I doing? What is happening? And, the cycle also ties into your gut health. Because if you're toxic and this is your monthly report card of what's happening throughout that month, and you've been fermenting all month with toxic food, well, what do you think is going to happen?
Mm.
Like, whenever I run the 21-day juice program, it's always interesting because I'll have people in there that are typically meat eaters, right? They just saw me on Instagram, post about it, and have joined, okay? And they'll join and they'll always report afterwards, my cycle changed. My cycle changed afterwards. It was different. I noticed a difference. I noticed there wasn't a foul smell, or there was less blood, or you know what I mean? There was less blood. People always notice a shift because once you detox, the body's going to respond. It's going to meet you, with whatever you've done to change it. And equally, whatever you don't do, it's going to meet you too. This is a mutual arrangement with the body. Yeah, because the microbiome, again, is running the show. And the microbiome doesn't respect a person. It's kind of like how cancer operates. It's not going to look at you and go, hey, Chris, I really like you, so I'm going to work in, cooperation with you. It's going to be like, well,
Right.
you're not giving me what I need, so who what? Let me show you how I show up and show out. It's exactly that. And that's what's happening a lot of the time. But it's like we almost don't want to take accountability. I can't tell you how many people I speak to who tell me, I eat healthy, and then we break it down. And sometimes it's from ignorance. And I don't judge that because I've been there. I was there. And I always thought that, well, I don't eat a bad diet. Girl, please. It was terrible. But I didn't know better, so I couldn't do better. Right? However, once you are being given the information, then there's almost an accountability obligation for you to input something. And I always say to people, anytime I run any program, and anyone that's been in any of my programs before, you can attest to this. It always starts on day one. I have one requirement from every single person that joins. Show up. That is it. Because even if you don't implement immediate changes, the fact that you showed up means you heard the information, means it registered somewhere, okay? And in the appointed time, you will take that information and run with it. Not everybody's at the same starting line. Not everybody's going to run at the same time. Some people are going to crawl, some people are going to walk, some people are going to be Usain Bolt. But the point is, you have to show up for yourself. Because in this life, no one's going to show up for you.
We have a lot of talk in the chat, people talking about their experience with their cycles. One lady mentioned that her cycles were 10 plus 14 days. That was normal for her.
Oh, no. Oh, no. I hope you're in the course. Whoever you are, you need to be in the course because that is not normal. That is not normal. Absolutely not. And that is not to scare you. I don't say this to make you feel fear. It's not about that. It's about correcting what's happening throughout that month because there's something that you're doing that the body does not appreciate and it's giving you signs, right? So we really need to look at that. We may find that you're having high estrogen foods and we have to look at the hormonal balance. And I would like you to be in the course. We need to sort that out. That is not, no.
Yeah. And it's where I really, so for men it's a little different, right? We don't get cycles, but where I started to like notice something in my teens, because a lot of people are talking about how their cycles were really bad in their teens. Well, you also got to look at like what's going on in your environment as a teenager, So like I know for me, my mom did make home cooked meals every single night leading up to high school.
She's
She
amazing.
still would do it during high school. I just might not be around to consume it. So
Right, yeah, of
I
course.
went from having almost exclusively home cooked meals. We would do our pizza night and things of that nature, to now eating gummy bears, gummy worms, Hawaiian punch, the cookies, and that crazy pizza that they used to serve us at. Y'all know, like, I don't know if they do it where they did it where you grew up, but like we had these square slices of pizza that came in saran wrap. It was just absolutely trifling. And
Never
so
heard
a lot of times, because the food was so bad, we would just eat out of the vending machine. Like eating from the vending machine was more appealing than eating the cafeteria food. And so in addition to, like, eating a lot of food at school, a lot of snacks, a lot of candy, a lot of all that stuff, then we start experimenting. We're experimenting with drinking, we're experimenting with smoking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, women, maybe you're sexually active, you start taking birth control. There's so many changes that happen in your teens, and like we don't quantify it. And then, like, what the teachers are telling us, like, we had health class, which I don't think they do anymore, but like they would call it raging hormones. As you're a teenager, you're gonna be oily, you're gonna be, and it's like that was all a lie. It was just a cover up.
They believe that.
Huh?
They believe that. The teachers
Yeah,
are they believe that. They do.
I believed it for a while. And
I
then
mean-
and then what happened was, as I got older, I'm like 17, 18 now, I started paying attention to my habits and how they correlated to my body. So I noticed that when I would drink soda, I would get pimples. It was like skin is fine. I would drink soda. I'd start getting pimples within a couple of days. So I took it upon myself to stop drinking soda. And I had a conversation with one of my older coworkers. He was probably like 25 at the time. And I was telling him, like, yeah, soda's giving me pimples. And he tried to convince me that I didn't know what I was talking about. He was like, I talked to my dermatologist, Chris. They said that don't got nothing to do with pimples and blah, blah, blah. I said, well, I don't care what your dermatologist said. I'm telling you what my body's telling me. So I'm not going to drink soda anymore. And from that day forward, I stopped drinking soda. I would just do like tea and water. And then I eliminated the tea because I figured out that it was pretty much just as bad as the soda for, most part. So now I just drink water and fruit juice. Huh?
You mean caffeinated tea? Is that what you mean? Black tea?
I'm talking about like Lipton's tea. Like it comes in a can. It's like Pepsi makes it. It's trash. Like, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. And it's so true. Like, and this is the thing. That's why this conversation is so rich and important, because like even bad breath, halitosis.
Right.
People are like, oh, well, I've got really bad breath. Like, you know what I mean? And it's like, well, yeah, because your gut is rancid and rotten. So it has to come from somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
A body odor. It's your gut is rotten. It's fermenting. And this is not to insult anybody. This is important information.
Mm-hmm.
You want to smell good. You want to feel good. So cleaning up your gut is going to help you in that area. It is not just about constipation and diarrhea. Even food cravings. If you find yourself craving, I know so many people that say, when it's time for my cycle, I crave like crazy things. And it's like, okay, but why do you think that's happening? Like, obviously there's a hormonal component to it, but there are also toxicity, because if you're not craving whole foods, right? Because when we go through, and I've got a whole program on healthy hormones, but when you go through the hormonal cycle, right? You've got the luteal phase, the follicular phase, the ovulatory phase, right? When you're ovulating, and then you have the menstruation phase. So each of those 4 phases in a month, your body wants certain foods. Okay, naturally your body craves certain foods because it's looking for certain phytonutrients to be able to pass through each phase effectively. But then if you're saying I'm craving chips or popcorn or candy and chocolate, the body's not looking for that. The body's looking for something that in a whole food that has that sort of tasty. So maybe it's the salt, the sodium, or maybe it's the sweetness, maybe from like some fruit or sweet potato, but it's not looking for the artificial synthetic version that you're reaching for. That is a food craving that is coming from a toxic gut.
Mm-hmm.
So when you clean up the gut, that food craving will no longer exist in that way. Because I know so many people, they want a good diet, they're so healthy, and then when that moment comes, close to the cycle, all hell breaks loose, and they're like, oh, I just sat down and ate 2 bars of chocolate, but because I needed to, it was a lot of stuff. I'm like, are you joking? Like this is toxicity at work.
Mm.
So again, it's not just what we think when we think about the gut. I mean, I have a lot of people that talk about circulation challenges, and you never associate circulation with gut health. You always think, oh no, it's just arterial. You know, it's arteries, it's blood circulation. And yes, it is. But you have to understand that everything in the body is interlinked.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And when things don't leave the system, they're reabsorbed into the system.
Mm-hmm.
That creates a backlog, and there you have it. So it's like the gut microbiome is the master of the ship. And so once you begin to really take hold of the importance of it and respect it, it's going to respect you equally. And that's just the reality. It's you cannot fake the funk in this area. You can't. You have to really give it its dues, begin to learn how it functions and treat it accordingly. And then you will see your life shift, because truly the body is designed in a way. We are not the designers of it. The creator of all things designed it this way, but we are the managers of it. We get to decide what we bring in, what we don't. We get to manage it. So why not manage it correctly so that it can give you longevity and quality of life? Because the thing is, also, many people on this live may have kids already, or maybe wanting to have kids one day. If you want to have kids one day and you haven't had them yet, I'm going to be totally transparent with you. You need to work on your microbiome, because the quality of your seed and the quality of, you know, your fallopian tubes and your all of that is involved in carrying a really healthy child depends on the microbiome. Because remember, you are actually, one, hopefully aiming for a vaginal birth, okay, for the females, so that you can actually provide that microbiome to the youth, the baby. But so what's coming through in that umbilical cord, you want to make sure that everything, that even when you're doing the breastfeeding, that even the colostrum that's coming through in the milk, you want to make sure of the quality of these things. This is so important. You are in control of the bacteria that your child gets. I don't take that lightly. I think that's huge.
Right.
We have so many children that are being born with defects and issues, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is not to play the blame game, but if you know that you can have a hand in having a healthy child in the way that you nourish yourself now, shouldn't that be your responsibility?
It is.
Something that you do.
It is. People need to understand epigenetics. People need to understand the power that we have. It's not, you know, they find so much toxicity in the umbilical cord. Like you gotta, like, you have to, and also, by the way, men are not off the hook for this either.
Thank you.
A lot of attention is put on the woman, but the men are equally as responsible, because guess where the seed comes from, right? Like, if you have a toxic seed and you plant a toxic seed into fertile, healthy ground, what do you think is going to happen? You know? So it's both parents, both people have to be, and this is why when you go to create a child, there needs to be a level of accountability on both of you. You need to have a game plan, you know, like, okay, let's get in the gym, you know, let's start eating maybe more raw food. Let's maybe get our weight. If you're in a obese range or a morbid obesity range, you probably shouldn't be having children. Why? Because number one, you're going to pass on disease to the children, but also you're going to put yourself at risk. Like, why are we having children so willy-nilly? It's like, well, just because it happens, it happens. Children, I mean, in this day and age, children should be planned. And it's not just about finances, because people always want to talk about, well, can you afford to have a child? And if you can afford to have a child, you can have a child. Well, what does afford mean? It's not just monetarily speaking. There was a time in not so recent history, or well, it's probably let's say 100 years ago, where it was common for women to die on the birthing table.
Yeah, that is true.
Like that was common. So, I mean, we really have to take, when it comes to children, we got to take it seriously. Now, it's not just your child. So when we talk about epigenetics, we're talking about a legacy that you're leaving for your child, their children, and 7 to 10 generations to come. You know, the impact that you have today is going to impact 7 to 10 generations. That is either generational wealth or generational curses. And we all wish that we were born into a family with legacy, right? Some monetarily speaking, we want like a college fund, or, you know, maybe some money to start a business. Like Donald Trump, he got $1 million, small loan of $1 million to start his business. We would all love to have that. But you know, we all really want that we don't think about health. We don't want to have to wear glasses. We don't want to have to worry about early balding. We don't want to have to worry about autoimmune disorders, diabetes, cancer, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If I had the choice, which I do, and I am making my choice, I'm going to offer my children the legacy of health and wellness. I'm going to also work on their financial legacy as well. But health and wellness is going to be at the top of the list. And, you know, that's exactly what we're trying to get you guys to understand tonight. Somebody had asked, how many people have signed up for the gut course? Well, we've got over 100 people already signed up for the gut course. So I don't know if people are like, you know, it's like what do you call it? Social proof. You know, sometimes when there's a crowd of people going somewhere or standing around a musician, you're like, oh, this must be good. Let me stop and listen too. But it's definitely not a small group of people that are joining this course. So I hope you guys are ready. Sasha, I hope you're ready. You got a lot of mouth to feed.
Listen, I'm always ready, because the truth is the truth, and the truth can't be changed. You know what I mean? It just is what it is. And again, for me, I'm passionate about it because I know how much it matters. Right? That's what it is. I know how much it matters. It's not a small thing. Once you get this correct, you're laying a foundation. And remember, this is just the beginning of a whole host of programs combined with your fasting components, right? Because at the end of the day, those challenges are super integral to the quality of this program. You have to go through it in that way to achieve the desired results. Okay, hold on. Sasha, can you please give us an idea of how we will be eating during the class? Are we following a particular protocol? I would like to prepare. Okay, so this is interesting. I don't think you're following a particular protocol per se, in the sense that I'm not going to be saying you have to have this for lunch and this for dinner, and no. I will be giving you recommendations on exactly how you should be eating, okay? In the sense that it's really important that you remove certain items, right? And we're going to have a schedule on how you're going to be eating, but telling you what to eat, I don't believe that that's sustainable. Because what's the point of me telling you what to eat, and then as soon as you're done, you go back to eating whatever? Exactly. It doesn't work that way, right? So I won't be doing that. However, I will be giving you, there are recipes in the Clean Eating Guide, okay? And they're kind of start-off recipes to kind of give you ideas. And I am available for the Q&As on the Thursday. So if you have any questions around that, I can assist you. And that's not an issue. But in terms of a protocol, as in eat this and eat that and do this, you're not children. Everybody's an adult in here. And I think what's more important is that you have information and you understand the why. Because I'm a why person. So if you understand the why and you have the information, then you can customize it to make it work for your life.
And this is why, Sasha, this is why this alignment we have is so perfect, because that's exactly what I would say. We do not tell you guys exactly what to eat in our courses. We're going to offer guidance on what you should be eating, like what general direction do you need to go. But you all have to play an active role in your wellness. I think it is a disservice, as Sasha mentioned, when programs tell you today is Monday and you're going to eat at 10 a.m., you're going to eat a banana and a smoothie and juice and whatever. And then at 12, you're going to eat green beans and you only need 4 ounces and you're going to have a filet fish and, whatever, all this stuff. Like, it's a disservice because that's not sustainable in anybody's world. No one's going to, just be, okay, bodybuilders do it, but this is their profession and they absolutely hate it, by the way. And they'll measure.
And I have so many bodybuilders that come in for colonics and their guts are terrible. So let's just put that out there. That's a fact.
Right.
So there's that.
So it's important. And also, there's so much gut diversity out there. People are having so many different issues. You need to pay attention to your body and make sure that what you're putting in is resonating with your system. Because if I'm like, I've had people where I've said, we'll just say oranges, right? Like I talk about oranges and orange juice and the benefit of that. And I might do a whole video talking about like orange fasting. And somebody will be like, Chris, I can't do that. I get, it gives me acid reflux or whatever, right? Yeah. And I'm like, well, I think you missed the point. The point is you could do grapes, you could do strawberries, you could do watermelon, you could do any fruit, right? We're talking about oranges because that's the topic today. So my goal is really to tell you guys how you can approach it and really make it make sense for you and your family versus telling you exactly what you need to do.
And the thing is, right, I know we live in a world, right, where nobody wants to think anymore. Everybody just wants to be directed. What do we do? But that's the problem. And that's the problem we're trying to solve, right? You have to understand that your microbiome is completely unique. Even if you are a twin, it's yours. You have your own.
Right.
Okay. And so that being said, if I were to lay out a schedule with food of exactly what you should have at what time, it might work for 5 of you, but the other 95 might feel like, what is this? I'm suffering. What is she teaching us? Because their microbiome could be completely different. So that being said, it's just really important to respect each and every one of you in the sense that you just need the information and the hand holding to make sure that if you have questions around it, I can support you. But other than that, this is your journey. This is your health and wellness journey. And I just want to support you and help you navigate it, but it's still yours. You're not outsourcing your health to me.
Or me for that instance.
There you go.
Do you think herbs or bitters will help with gut cleaning?
Absolutely. Herbs and bitters are fantastic. They are great. Always, yeah. But it really depends what bitters and what you're combining them with, because the thing is, there are so many different kinds of bitters and so many different kind of herbs. Some people just kind of do like this, a bombo combo, and they Google something and they're like, okay, I'm going to put it all together. And sometimes that's not the best approach. However, you can try it. You'll just be probably having a lot of issues at first. So I typically look at things as in, I like to start with roots. I like to play around with roots and let your body get used to roots. And then we move into more herbs, right? And that's just my approach. There are so many different approaches, but I mean, there is no one way that works best. I think that is a bit of a trial and error as well, because again, down to your uniqueness, you might find that you're great on dandelion root, right? Or you might find that you're great on burdock root. You might find that actually, you know what? I'm not so good on that. I prefer to do like a parsley cilantro juice, right? With ginger and turmeric. That is better for me. So it just really depends where you're at.
I have an interesting outlook on that.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously you guys know I'm gardening right now. Like I'm in the garden. I'm literally in that thing every day. And one of my favorite things to do is to go and see what new seed popped up, especially if I know I didn't plant it there. Like I've got all these random seeds popping up now, and it's just the best feeling ever.
Of course.
what I have noticed is that I've got like a lot of dandelion in my backyard, and it's just growing, boop, 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 popping up
I love
everywhere.
it.
And in my head, I'm thinking nature knows what I need. Like
Yes.
nature probably is putting dandelion here for me, you know? So
That's what I'm
you
drinking
can,
right now.
oh, there you go. And it literally grows in the backyard, like it's everywhere, right? So you can maybe go out there and maybe get a book on identifying herbs, or there's apps. Okay, I'm not against anything. Like if it'll help you learn to identify
Yeah,
plants, cool.
absolutely.
And maybe see what is growing out there, because you would be surprised at how, okay, Sasha, you've been talking about like how the gut and just how everything works synergistically. The body, you know, you can't separate organs and systems. They all kind of interconnect.
Communication.
Well, we are microorganisms on this earth, right?
Yeah,
And so
absolutely.
we send out a signal for what we need, and then the earth, being our host body, provides it. It's very possible that the solution for what you need is in your backyard growing, and you're trying to spray it with weed killer.
Ooh.
So I'm just saying, like, it's a
I
very
really love
interesting
that.
perspective. Yeah.
I love that perspective. I didn't even think of that. And you know what? Now that you've said it, it makes complete sense. It makes like so much sense that I'm kind of annoyed that I didn't think of it. But it makes complete sense, because we are one with nature. Like we don't end. It doesn't end. We are actually, that's why grounding is so important. Taking off your shoes and going and standing in the soil and allowing yourself to just feel the energetic vibrations of that soil, right? We are one with nature. We are. We separate ourselves, but we definitely are one. So I'm actually loving that you mentioned that. I think that's so cool. Question: you're in a hot place, right? You're in the warm area of America. So do you have, is it like a subtropical climate there? Would you class it as that?
No, I wouldn't classify it as subtropical.
Okay.
It's dry and hot.
Only reason is because moringa is super powerful, and it's a really quick tree stroke weed that grows really, really quickly, 3 months, right? And you have a fully grown bada bam. And I was thinking, are you growing them? Are you? Because I always leave moringa, yeah? I always leave 47 moringa.
So you know what's funny is last year I actually sprouted a whole bunch of moringa trees, and I have a patio where I sprout and you know, more of a controlled environment, or at least what I thought was controlled. Something came and ate all of the sprouts I had on the patio, and so yeah, like I kind of got discouraged, and I haven't sprouted any this year. But okay, you just inspired me. I need to go.
Yeah, man, you've got to do that, and then I want some. I love it. No, it's one of my favorites. So that's why I'm always like, anyone that's coming or traveling from somewhere subtropical or warm enough to grow it, because it's a weed. Most people don't want it. They're like, oh, it's a weed. It's taking over all of, like, it grows so much in Florida. I'm always like, people, send it my way. I'll take it off your hands. I love it. It's my favorite.
Yeah.
Okay, so going back to symptoms that I'm just grabbing it up. Going back to symptoms that people don't typically associate. So we mentioned the mood before. I think we did. Did we mention the mood?
A little bit, yeah.
Then depression, anxiety. A lot of times people are going through things, and I don't take this lightly. I actually spoke at an event last year. It was a Black mental health event here in Toronto, and listening to some of the stories that people, the challenges that people are going through mentally, is humbling. You know, it really makes you put into perspective how grateful you are that you're not going through that at that moment. You know what I mean? Your humanity, you have this level of humanity for that person, because it's like, whoa, it's tough. But it also, when I got up to speak, I couldn't help but to share how much the gut is related to what they're feeling. And I know that probably in that moment, it was like, what is she talking about? But then I began to break it down and really explain to them the gut-brain axis, and just really how instrumental it is to have those gut hormones getting those neurotransmitters to the brain, so that we're able to access good feelings, right? The serotonin, the dopamine, the oxytocin, like these things, the body produces itself naturally. That means it's not a natural state to be in a depressive state or an anxious state. It's not a natural state of being.
Right.
Excuse me. And so because of that, oftentimes people don't look at mood as anything to do with the gut. And it very much is. Your thoughts, Chris? Did you know that?
I agree 100%. I'm just reading these comments, trying to get, pull out the comments we need to respond to, but I agree 100%. As a matter of fact, and this is in my experience, when I was going through my initial detox, I was learning about parasites, and I was learning about how parasites had the ability to release neurotoxins and literally control your mood, control your cravings, control, they can't move your body for you, but when you get that really heavy craving, or if you start feeling a certain type of way and it maybe causes you to react a certain way, you're being manipulated regardless. And so the same way that the parasites can manipulate you, your gut, they all have an impact on how we move and flow in this reality. So obviously what I've noticed that's very interesting is as we start cleaning, as we start getting healthy population of gut, we get the balance that we're looking for. The things people crave, the things people go for starts to change, right? And so we can really start, because people talk about their eating addiction and cravings and just like ravenous hunger and all these things. And I always said, it's interesting that I've never met someone who's like, yeah, Chris, I've got really bad, like refeed syndrome or just ravenous hunger, and all I do is just smash grapes all day long and I can't stop. Like, it's never grapes. It's never oranges or watermelons or, even avocados. It's always like potato chips and pretzels and ice cream. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, look, there is grace there. Like, if you can't control your eating, like you just eat, like we had Jerome on a couple of weeks ago, and he talked about how he eats and he has to eat to a certain point. Well, if you choose to eat natural raw foods, your whole interaction is going to be different. And I think in that call, I actually mentioned to Jerome, eating different types of foods. And he was like, oh, I never really thought about that. So, yeah, it's very interesting when you stop being a victim and you start to take control of your health and your wellness, because you really could do whatever you want. You can have any experience you want. Hi, guys. Is releasing mucus in the stool a sign of gut cleaning?
Sometimes, but sometimes it is a sign that you've got too much mucus in your body.
Right.
So it doesn't always mean it's a cleansing, unless you're doing a cleanse.
Unless you're doing a cleanse.
Because if not, it's just that you just have excess mucus in the body.
Mm-hmm. So I guess the question is like, is it a good thing or a bad thing? Depends. It
depends. And the thing is, right, the quality of your stool, this is really important. And I'm going to teach on this in the course. We're going to talk about the Bristol stool chart because it's actually included in the detailed guide. And the Bristol stool chart came about because it was a test that was done in Bristol in the UK on lots of people's stool. And basically it identifies how your stool should be, right? So the classic is number 4, which is the healthy stool. It looks like a sausage, right? But there are other stool examples or pictures that kind of indicate where you are with things. And your stool is a really good indication of what's going on with your gut and your transit time and all of that good stuff. So I look at stool for a living. Obviously, I do colonics and I see all the stool coming out, and I use that to identify how this person is living their lifestyle. And for some people, that's kind of gross. For me, it's super interesting because people lie. People love to lie to themselves. and say that I am eating well and I'm eating greens and I'm, doing all the good stuff. And I'm not, who am I to tell you you're lying? But when your blood tells me and when your stool tells me, I'm going to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I'm not calling you a liar, but your body is. So
The body keeps score, baby.
Exactly.
Like, you can't.
When will you be telling us the name of the 500 billion program? Oh, it's inside the detailed guide, darling. Are you in the course? Who's that? Shelly? Oh, you just want me to give it away, huh? You just want me to give it
Shelly wants you to just tell her.
You just want me to give it away. Girl, you need to be in the course.
Oh man. It is I will tell you this in my experience, because when I very first started building the AHA brand, I had a lot of people approach me with different vitamins, minerals, probiotics, all kinds of stuff.
Me too.
And I was extremely, I know, right? They come out of the woodwork.
Oh my God.
I was extremely careful about anything I promoted. So if you guys look at the early years of AHA, I pretty much promoted nothing. I didn't trust hardly anything. Now we've started to find some affiliations we really like and enjoy. But I'll say this, not wasting your money playing around with the stuff you find at Whole Foods or the stuff you find at Target or random stuff you find on Amazon. For someone to be able to tell you, hey, this is a high quality product that is going to give you X result, that's valuable. That's very valuable. I'm telling you, because while I wasn't promoting a lot of products, I certainly was using them behind the scene because I had to test.
Yeah.
Right. So I've spent, and people probably won't believe me, but I've spent tens of thousands of dollars on products, programs, therapies, devices. Like, you guys have no idea the amount of money I've invested. It's extremely valuable to know what's worked. And I only present to you all what works. With everything that I've done, we have like the crystal water bottles. We have like the Aqua Energizer structural watering devices. We got the doTERRA oils. We got the Root brand products. The castor packs, things of that nature. Like, we only have a small handful of things that we really promote. There's so much garbage out there. And look, the thing about it is, you will use a product and it'll work for a period of time. So when I test products, it's not just a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Like, there was a product that me and John tested years ago at the very beginning of A Healthy Alternative. And we used it for maybe a total of 5 months. And for 3 months, it was working. And after that 3 months, it plateaued. So there is a whole profession to test products and blog about them and talk about what works. You know what I'm saying? So that's extremely valuable information.
No, but I'll tell you now, right? When it comes to supplements, supplements are an add-on. They're an add-on. They are not an excuse to not make changes. I'll tell you that. For those who pay for the course, we'll receive an email with a special link. You have to sign the website. You must be in the community. Are you not in the community?
Yeah, I think this question is someone who is they're trying to figure out with the secret community, I'm assuming. So you should actually receive an invitation. If I will talk to Shell to make sure, because I know that there's already people in the community, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was chatting away yesterday.
Right. So I'll talk to Shell. It might be a manual process where she's letting people in manually. And if it is, I'll update it so that they can be automatically added. But we will do that tonight. So don't worry. If you're not in, if you just signed up and you're not in, then we'll do that tonight. And if you're not in by this weekend or tomorrow, if you're not in, make sure to email us. Okay. support@ahealthyalternative.org so we can make sure you get in before the live stream tomorrow night.
Yeah, I'm very excited. So, yeah. So where was I at? I was talking about, and you mentioned parasites. So that leads me into gut in terms of yeast, parasites, and bacterial overgrowth. These are the things, right, that compromise the gut. That's it. And the thing is, a lot of times when you think yeast, people are thinking candida alone, right? But they're not also looking at the fact that yeast in the bread that you eat is toxic to your system and toxic to your gut. You mentioned sourdough, and it was so interesting to me the other day when you mentioned that, because sourdough is completely different. It's the way it's made, the fermentation process is completely different than the Wonder Bread that you go and pick up in the store. Like, it's completely a different integrity level, and the body receives it in a totally different way. And that is why a lot of times people are wondering, like, what's going on? Like, how come some people can eat bread and not have this issue? And it's like, well, you have to also understand that their level of microbiome in their gut may be different. And so you can never look at what another person's doing with their gut health, right? You have to begin to become an expert on your own.
Mhm.
And, you know, everybody has parasites. I want to put that out here. Everybody has parasites. Oftentimes when you think parasite, you think tapeworm, and you're thinking these huge, insane parasites. I'm not looking at that. When I'm talking about parasites, I'm talking about your protozoans, right? I'm talking about your amoebas. These are tiny little microscopic parasites that we see, okay? And they're there because they're gonna be there. They're just part of the system. They're part of the organisms that make up your system, okay? The challenge is not having the parasites necessarily, these tiny ones. The challenge is when they work against you. It's when you create such toxicity that now they are parasitic in behavior, where they begin to start stealing from you. Because when you have a corpse and somebody dies and they cut them open, the majority of things they see is parasites, right? That's what's there. But the reality is we all have parasites, and this is what is not talked about enough. We all have parasites. It's just, how are you feeding them? What are you doing with them? Are they working for you, or are they working against you? We are a body full of critters. And I know that sounds gross. It's like, oh, what? But we are. We are a body full of different critters, and they all have different jobs to maintain us. So it's about learning how we can best support them and stop this kind of germophobia, because it doesn't actually work. It's ridiculous, because germs aren't, you don't wake up one day, catch a germ and get cancer or get a disease.
Right.
It's not how it works. It's just, that's not it. Right? It's a lifestyle and sometimes environmental impact, right? That has happened over a period of time with a weakened immune system, right? And the body has no fight. And so the body begins to create abnormal cells in some shape or form. That is what's happening. It is not, oh my gosh, I caught cancer. You didn't. You did not. Right? Just like me, I didn't catch this cold. No, my immune system was weakened by me not doing the things that I know I should be doing, by me not getting enough sleep, right? By me not making sure that I got my juices in, because I'm normally a girl who juices every day. I get at least a green juice in. It's important for me. It's how I function, right? Everybody doesn't have to do that. But where I'm coming from and my health, it's something that my body thrives on. So if I'm skipping that because I'm busy and I don't have time, I'll do it later. And then I'm not getting enough sleep, okay? And my mind is just going because I'm trying to do a million things at one time. Of course, my immune system is going to be like, And it gave me a hint. I did get a hint last week. And I didn't listen to it because I was going out with my friend to a comedy show. And I thought, I don't care. I'm just going to put on my little black dress and go out. You know? And I did. And now my body's like, well, you didn't want to listen, so here you go. And it won't last long. But the point is, it's me not respecting the signs. And that's why today's live was how to identify the signs. Because once you know how to identify them, you have the choice to respect it or not. But there will always be a repercussion if you don't. And sometimes it's not that serious. Sometimes it's a cold and you can knock it out in 24 to 48 hours and you're good to go. But sometimes it might be something else. So it's important to really know the signs so you can respond accordingly.
And you also might find once again, we talked about this earlier. The body is very repetitive. If you pay attention to your body and the signs that your body is giving you, you may find there is a repeat pattern. And you may find that you find a natural solution to resolve certain issues. And you may find that if you pay attention to the warning signs, like Sasha had mentioned earlier, she got a warning last week. So if this is a repeat pattern and you have found a solution, you might find that if you implement that solution right there when you get your first warning sign, that then you don't have to worry about dealing with more coming later. So, for example, with me, before I changed my diet and really started fasting regularly, I would get ill twice a year. It was winter solstice and summer solstice. I knew that during those seasons, when I started getting that little tickle, a little extra mucus and a little tickle in the back of my throat, if I took honey, hot water, and lemon juice, like a raw honey, hot water, and lemon juice, and I drank it, as soon as I felt that, it was gone. If I went to sleep and I woke up and it set in, I would have to deal with it for at least 3 days. If I didn't do my tonic, it was a week-long process. I learned that over years of dealing with it over and over. And so as I started to really understand it, as soon as I felt that tickle, I dropped everything. I went and got my tonic because I knew what was coming after that. See, the thing is, when you have a friend, a loved one, or a classmate that dies randomly of a brain aneurysm, there's no randomness in that, right? Like, I used to be terrified because I would hear stories of 20, 25, 28-year-old, 30-something-year-old guys dying just randomly, right? No, it starts with that headache you're ignoring. And then you take the Advil or the prescription drug, and then it turns into a migraine, and so on and so forth. And then eventually it becomes this big thing. But it's like you've been getting signal after signal after signal, and you're just ignoring them all, you know? So we have to be, and this is why it's important to be responsible for your wellness journey, because then it's like, okay, no, I was warned. I had an opportunity to make a change. I had a couple questions. Wait a minute.
But you know, just you saying that is powerful because it is so true. We've all known someone that has died prematurely, that we would class as prematurely, right? Mm-hmm. And when you look at the situation, obviously, if it was something to do with health related, right? When you look at the situation, you can almost pinpoint times where change could have prevented that outcome. And it's so sad. Like it's really sad when you think about it, because like I don't know, I just when you said it, I just felt like really emotional about it, because it is true. We all know someone that has been through something that didn't end up the right way, and it's like there were signs, there were things, there were moments, I mean, even in my own cancer journey, there were moments, there were signs, and I was just so hard-headed until I got to the place of like no return. And then by the grace of God, you know what I mean, I had the restoration, but not everybody gets that. Right. Because sometimes it's just a bit too far gone, right? And it's like, that's why it's so important to read the science, because the body is always trying to find its way back to balance. Like, you'll never find anything that wants you to be well more than your own body. Like, it's just always trying to do it. It's just always trying to do it. And my ignorance last week was because I just wanted to have a good time, mate. I was like, oh, this is going to be fun. I'm going out. And who tells me to go out in Canada in a little black dress without a coat when I feel a tickle? And I'm like, you know, it's just, none of it made sense. But in my, you know, in my desperation to have fun, there we go. That's it.
So someone, we responded to someone's question about them not getting a email or joining the course. So I'm gonna let you all know now. Our systems are automated. Okay. So if you sign up and you have not received anything, there is a high likelihood that you put your email in incorrectly, because when you sign up, you're going to receive a thank you email. You're going to receive a receipt. So if you signed up and you didn't receive anything, either the emails are going to spam and you need to check your spam, or you keyed in your email incorrectly because it auto sends. And if you can't find the emails, you're having issues, you gotta email us at support@ahealthyalternative.org. Support@ahealthyalternative.org. Okay. And then just let us know, hey, I signed up, I haven't gotten any emails. And we'll be able to see from your account that, their emails are either bouncing or they're going through and they're probably going to spam. Okay. So just know that if you sign up, especially you sign up right now, there's an automatic email that goes out instantly. Hey, thanks for signing up. If you're not getting anything, because as of right now, you guys should be and have an invitation into the course and ready to get in tomorrow. Sasha, this is a question you'll have to answer because I'm not sure. Someone was asking about the PDF guides. Are they going to receive those in the course?
Yes. When I open up the course, they will be able to download the guides.
All right. So there you go.
You don't need to do any pre-reading, guys. It's
no
okay.
pre-reading.
No pre-reading. You're just going to get it on the day. And I'm going to be in there and we're going to be talking through. But yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm very excited for all of you that are joining and for all of you that are sitting on the fence. Actually, I had somebody reach out to me and tell me they were sitting on the fence. And I was like, why? And they were like, I don't know. I know I need it, but I don't know if I should sign up. And I was like, okay. And, I appreciate the message because it means that you really do want to sign up because you almost like kind of want me to convince you to do that. I'm not going to do that. And not because I don't want you in the course. Okay. But I don't believe in pressuring anybody that's not ready. These lives are not about pressuring you. These lives are about education. They're about having a good time. I love getting on here with Chris. It's always good banter. I love it. But it's not a pressure thing. If you don't see the value, then there's almost no point. But I will tell you this. If you invest in yourself and you show up, then you will be in like alignment with allowing your body and your mind and your spirit to begin change. Because it doesn't happen in one day, but you have to show up. You can't just expect change and you're sitting on the fence. Even if you're not ready to walk the walk yet, at least you'll have access to the information and you'll be in the arena of change.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where it starts. I'll tell you now, I always think of it like this. When I coach someone on a one-to-one basis, I talk with them and I say to them, listen, this is a journey that you're on and I'm your coach. What that means is I'm on the sidelines. You're in the basketball arena. You're in the court. I'm on the sidelines.
Mm-hmm.
And on those sidelines, I'm giving you the strategy, which is the plans, the steps, okay? And I'm giving you the encouragement. I am your cheerleader coach. I'm out here with my pom-poms doing the dance, the whole thing. But you have to take the ball, dribble it, and dunk it. I can't do that for you. I'd love to, because sometimes people are in such a hole, I want to grab the ball from them and be like, the hell, let me do it for you. But I can't.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing.
I really wish I could do that too. I talk about it jokingly with the coaches, you know what I mean? Like it would make everything so easy. But
Of course it would.
the crazy thing about it is there's still the maintenance. Like even if somebody could do the healing for you, are they going to live your life for you? Like there's still that decision that you have to make at the dinner table, when you go to the convenience store, when you stop at the gas station, when you go to the grocery store, when you go to the theater. Like no one can be there to make those decisions for you. And ultimately, at this point, with the knowledge that we have, most of our disease, at least in America, is dietary related. Like we are choosing to consume our disease. Now, you may be unaware of it, and that's fair, and that's the reason why AHA exists. That's why Sasha exists, and there's many other platforms out there that are telling you guys so you can be aware of it. But the reality is, it's a choice, right? It's not your genetics. It's not something you developed in the womb, or you know what I mean. You make this choice, and even if you did get issues, because we talked about this earlier. If you come from a toxic seed or a toxic womb and
Yeah.
you developed issues, you still have control over rectifying those issues, right?
Absolutely.
Maybe they weren't your choices. I get it. It's not fair, but it's your life, and either you could choose to live with those issues or you could choose to rectify them. I think that the important thing is understanding you have a choice and not feeling like you don't, right? Because that's how sometimes they try to make it seem like there's really no choice here. So I've been seeing a lot of questions in the chat about. Listen, I'm glad you guys are excited. I'm glad y'all are signing up.
Good.
So if I'm gonna just kind of run down this real quick.
Yeah.
If you signed up a day ago, right, and you've not received the emails to join or be involved, like maybe you just got your receipt or whatever, the first thing I want you to do is check your spam, because the way emails are sent, transactional emails, like meaning if you purchase a product and they send you a receipt, those are high priority. Typically those won't get filtered out.
Right.
But you might the follow-up emails might be in your spam. So that means you did put your email in correctly because you got some email. If you got no emails, then it's very likely you keyed in your email wrong. Regardless, right? Once you check your spam, it's not there, you don't have anything, just email us, support@ahealthyalternative.org. That's going to solve the problem. If you are having issues registering, I've seen a couple people mention that. If you have issues, go ahead and email us, support@ahealthyalternative.org. Okay. Hey, I want to sign up for the gut course. I'm having issues. Just do that, right after this live stream. That way we can clear all that stuff tomorrow morning, and, we'll make sure to get you guys all in. So the PDF guide you're going to get when you're in the course. You're going to get the information about the $5 billion probiotic when you're in the course. And
you said
yeah,
$5 billion.
like I said,
I started laughing because you said $5 billion. No. It's $52. I love it.
One thing that I've definitely been cognizant of is our community, and there's different classes of people and financial situations. I do my best to focus on products that work. I don't focus on the cheapest, but what I will say is this: if something works and it's a little bit more expensive, it's better than something that's cheaper that doesn't work. So
absolutely, that's true.
Right.
Because I tell you now, in my experience, of buying supplements and trying supplements when I was trying to heal and trying to restore, and like there are so many joke supplements out there, and you spend a fortune just to have no results. Look at my blood and not see a change. Look at, you know what I mean? It's just, So, I'm very selective, just like you, when it comes to supplements, especially because you have to remember, guys, just because you see me sitting here in Toronto and I have a wellness center now and I have this whole brand and blah, blah, blah. When I was going through the cancer journey, I didn't have all that. Like, my budget, I was on sick leave, right, from my job. My budget was very little, and I had 2 kids to feed. And my ex-husband, my husband at the time, he was in jail. So, I was trying to make it work on a very tight string. So if I could do that then, I know that it's doable for others, because I've kind of gone through all of the pitfalls and I'm taking that part out. I'm not promoting the crap that I did that didn't work. You know what I mean? Like, I'm now very dialed in on what does. So actually it's saving you a bit of a fortune. And I don't say that because, I'm trying to coerce you into signing up, but you are kind of taken the guessing out of it all. You don't actually have to go through all the different supplements in the Healthy Planet shop to figure out now. So that kind of is like a no-brainer, in my opinion, because I went through a lot of doobies to find the right stuff. And again, I want to put this out here. Not everything is going to work for everyone too. And there is that, because we have to also look at the fact that everybody is individual. But there is also this underlying knowing that, yes, you're individual, but vitamins and supplements are not like medications. They don't come with side effects. So therefore, if you try something and it doesn't give you the response that you are looking for, you haven't actually harmed yourself in the process.
Mm-hmm.
That's important to note.
Yeah.
Nothing I ever promote is a chemical, is chemically based, is pharmaceutical. I don't do that. It's straight nutraceuticals, herbs, and supplements, and roots. That's it.
Yeah. And so if you take a supplement and it does give you some type of ill side effect, it's possible that it wasn't as natural as you thought. So that's another big scam, right? Like you got to understand marketing. You have to understand what you guys, depending on what country you're in. If a lot of you all are in America, we have very loose standards on terminology. So for example,
Oh my God.
when you go to the grocery store and you see the packaging and it says all natural, understand that there's nothing natural about it. Okay? It is a marketing term and it is designed to trick you because there's crap in it that shouldn't be in it. That's why they use that term. So when you see all natural, understand that the government has defined all natural, and all natural essentially encompasses everything. So I need you guys to understand that, okay? These are standards, and it's designed to trick you. And on the same note, Sasha's saying, you know, I'm not here to sell you. Well, guess what? I have no problem selling. I did door-to-door sales in New York for I was there for a year, and then I moved with the company. I was in Connecticut, Pennsylvania. I've done door-to-door sales in some of the most difficult markets. And what I've learned is that everybody is marketing, okay? Like even YouTube, you think that you're here to get some free content from a healthy alternative and it's going to be beneficial. But if you guys are watching on the replay or even maybe live stream, you're going to have to see an advertisement. What is that? It's marketing. Right? You go on Hulu, you pay for Hulu, it's $8 a month, but every time you go to watch your show, every 5 to 10 minutes, there's a commercial. It's marketing. When you drive past the Golden Arches on the highway, going to your grandma's house, they are marketing. That's why the Golden Arches sit 32 feet up in the air. It's all marketing, okay? And so the problem is that when it comes to health and wellness, especially people in our arena, it's disgusting for us to do the same. It's disgusting for us to play at the same level. Well, how are we going to help you when you guys don't allow us to compete? Like I get people, this is super rare. I'm not saying it's very common, but every time I promote something, someone's like, well, why isn't it free? Why are you charging for this? Well, why do you pay for your groceries? Why don't you just grow them yourself? Like it's a convenience. You're asking for someone to take their knowledge base, their experience, whatever they've learned, whatever they've invested to get thus far, and just give it to you for free. First of all, one of the first things my mom taught me when I was much younger was that people tend to be better stewards over things they work for than things that are just given to them. Right? Like when you don't work for something, you just don't take care of it the same way you do as if you put sweat equity into it. So when I was developing the brand, and I had a committee early on, one of the things the committee told, because I was doing everything for free back then.
Me too in the beginning. Me too.
I remember one of the things they told me was like, look, Chris, you have to allow people to be a blessing to you. You have to allow people to. It's an exchange of energy. Okay. Absolutely. So understand that when you are investing in this program, you are exchanging energy from yourself to us or to Sasha or to whoever. And in return, there's energy that's going to come right back to you and it'll be amplified. Like that's what it's really all about. It's about maintaining a proper exchange of energy, because I'm going to tell you what, I did everything for free for probably like the first 2 years, and I was going to quit. Like I wasn't getting anything in return. I'm not talking monetarily. I didn't care about the money.
You just empty the bucket.
People were not saying, hey, Chris, you spent an hour with me, and guess what? I got X amount result from that.
Yeah.
Because if y'all would have just did that, I would have continued doing it for free. Like what makes me happy is hearing your testimonials. That's why we bring the testimonials on. Like I love doing those testimonials, you know? But what I noticed is when I started charging, And this is interesting too, because Dr. Sebi said the same thing. When I
Mhm.
started charging, people started getting better outcomes.
No,
Why?
that's true.
They had skin in the game,
That is true.
you know?
The minute I started charging was the same thing. The minute I started charging, people were almost like, okay, so what do I have to do? It's like they took me seriously. Before that, they almost didn't. And it was kind of crazy because I thought, why do I have to, like, why does it have to be like that? But now that your explanation of it is powerful and I understand it more, and I'm actually like, wow, I love that.
I got no problem with it because you know what? I get charged. I'm in a program right now.
So am I.
I am in a program right now, and I guarantee you it's way more expensive than anything that I would ever charge our community as far as products and services. It's exponentially more expensive. And I'm doing it to grow the brand, and I'm doing it because I have goals. Like there are things, and by the way, I've done this multiple times. Like it's not the first time. When I told you I've invested tens of thousands of dollars, you guys, if I told you how much money I've invested, you guys would be like, there's no way.
Yeah.
Like you would be like, there's no way.
I believe you because I know.
But I know you have all the equipment and everything you have in your center, like that alone. But we'll invest $100,000 in a college education that's getting us nowhere. Like we do that in the States all the time, you know. We got all kinds of college debt, man. It's crazy.
But,
So
you know,
I know somebody was asking, is there a way to do the course in payments? There should be a payment option available. If you go to sign up and you choose, I think PayPal Afterpay or something like that, there's an installment option. So I believe that is available for you guys. Yeah.
That's very cool. I love that. You're making it so accessible. Like there is no reason not to get on this, guys. That's fabulous. I didn't even know you had that option. That's so cool.
I'm doing everything in my possible. Like I'm doing everything I possibly.
I don't even have that option on when I offer my programs, like for the most part. So that's wild. I love it. That's so cool.
Yeah.
I should probably do that.
Yeah, program starts tomorrow, May 5th. It's going to be the first live stream.
Yes, guys, I'm going home. I'm going to have a good night's sleep, okay? So I can be on fire tomorrow for you all.
Sasha, when is the cutoff to join? Because you know, I usually cut my programs off the Monday after it starts. We had talked about this on the last live stream, and someone's asking what's the cutoff. So obviously you're going to have replays of everything, but when is going to be the last day for them to sign up?
Well, if you usually do a Monday after the beginning, then we'll do the same.
Okay, so
your usual routine.
The cutoff is going to be Monday night, so that's what y'all get.
Yeah. We're not changing the normal structure.
There you go.
Same.
Okay. Well, this has been more than I ever could have hoped for.
Yeah, it was super fun as usual. Super fun.
As usual. You know,
I really enjoyed it.
The comment section's been popping. I appreciate y'all interacting. Hit that like button, you know.
And subscribe if you don't already subscribe.
Definitely subscribe. Got anything else for him, Sasha, before we rock out?
Not really. Just, you know, prioritize yourself, love yourself. And when I say love yourself, I don't mean the fake self-love that we see on Instagram. You know what I mean? I mean truly loving yourself. Truly loving yourself means caring for this vessel that you have to live in for a period of time. You know?
Yeah.
That's truly loving yourself. And oftentimes you might not know how to. Okay, you might not know how to care for yourself. You might be dealing with some disorder, maybe obesity, maybe acne, whatever it is. It's irrelevant. The reality is, invest the time and the energy to learn how to truly nourish yourself, which is an act of love. That's it, really, in a nutshell.
I've had a blast. It's been quite a week. I am excited to see y'all's response from. We've got plenty of people joining, so we should get some really good feedback on, you know, how people experience the course, what they get out of it, and then as we do our follow-up with the R72. We're going to be starting the R72 challenge. It's going to come right after Sasha's course ends. And so we are very excited to see you, those of you who are joining her first course. And there was one other question I'm going to address, but those of you who are joining this first course, and then you're going to roll into the R72, I am going to ask, as I mentioned earlier to you all, like the way that you guys really pay me back is through your testimonials. Like seeing and hearing about your results is, you have no idea what it does to me. So if you guys can just be thinking about continuing this process, do the challenge, and then document maybe what your experience is like from doing the gut course first and then doing the challenge, so that you guys can give us feedback and we can continue to develop these things and make them more efficient and helpful for you.
Oh my gosh, that would be amazing, guys. I'd really appreciate that too, because your feedback is what drives us, right?
Yeah, I thought, dang, there was another question. It was really on the tip of my brain, and then I thought I had it in my little notes up here, but I don't. But anyway, that's no problem. We will see you guys. We'll see you guys tomorrow. We've got a good interview coming out tomorrow. Sarah, who interviewed with me a couple weeks, maybe about, I don't know, 2 months ago. I don't know, 6 weeks ago. I don't know. She's from over the pond. I think she's in the UK. And she lost like 60 pounds over the course of 7 months. So we got that. We got that interview coming out tomorrow. For those who are members, the interview is already available. So if you guys want to get in there, comment first. You know what I mean? It's ready for you. And that's all I got. I enjoy the rest of y'all's weekend. Good night.
Night, everyone. See you tomorrow.